Good evening, everybody. This is Brownson's By Any Means Necessary Fantasy Football Talk for Tuesday, November 9th. This will be the Waiver Wire edition for tonight for you to put in the waivers today. For tomorrow morning, I got 15 for you. It's a much better Waiver Wire week than last week. Lots of good options. Lots of very deep wire, and I'm excited to see who I get. I haven't put in my waivers yet. I used to live for this kind of thing. I used to live for Tuesday night. It was waiver night. I would stay up till 1:30 in the morning, or set my alarm to get up at 1:30 in the morning and check to make sure my waivers cleared. And if I didn't get the guys I wanted on waivers, I'd be first in line to get the guys who were still available on the waiver wire that people just didn't put in waivers for. But I mean, now I'm just Tuesdays just wipe me out, man. Tuesdays just like the first day of the week where I have to go back to work, like for 2 jobs. So like Saturday, Sunday, Monday I get to sleep in, so Tuesday is like the day where I have to get up at 3:45 in the morning again after 3 days of sleeping in, and inevitably I never get enough sleep on Monday night, so I'm always just completely worn out today. And then it's our biggest delivery day of the week at the airport, and I'm always the one kicking ass getting that stuff done. So I'm a little beat on Tuesdays, and I just don't have the energy to put in waivers. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna tough it out, and I'm gonna do it. A couple of things I want to talk about before we get to the waiver wire. Some things going on in my life. UPS today, we finally got some clarification on how they're going to handle the mandate, and I'm very excited to announce that the company is going to provide testing for us weekly. For those of us who are not vaccinated, they're going to provide testing free of charge, which I think is great. And what was the other thing that there was something else? Oh, there's still also, for those of us who do test positive, we're going to get 2 weeks of paid sick time off for COVID. See, that, like, my other job, although I love that other job, and I like I like my boss, he said that the company is no longer going to provide additional sick time for COVID. The sick time that we have, which is just 40 hours, is the sick time we have to use for COVID. And if we run out, we have to use vacation time. And I said, F that. I said, fuck that. I'm not doing that. And then he also said that they weren't going to, the airport or the company was not going to provide testing for those who are not vaccinated. And he said it was going to cost us $180 a test or something. I said, well, I'm not paying $180 a week to get tested. And so I guess I have a decision to make. But if UPS is going to test me weekly for free, I'll just use that test for my other job too, right? It should be perfectly acceptable. Speaking of COVID tests, because I'm not currently vaccinated, I am debating whether I'm going to do that or not, because I don't want to lose my job, and I don't want it to be a hindrance on my life. And if it starts being required for me to get to fly, for instance, or to get into events, which it is here in my area, I have to get a test or be vaccinated to get into events. I'm debating whether I'm going to actually finally do it or not. But speaking of testing, I did go through. There's a COVID testing place about 8 blocks from my house, maybe closer than that. It says it has this big banner that says advertising rapid testing, 20 to 30 minute results. So I went in there yesterday. They told me I had to make an appointment, ask them the questions I needed to ask and get answered. They answered all my questions easily, and I have all the information I need now. But I got to make an appointment. They do take insurance, so my UPS benefits should cover it. I'll probably have to pay, I think it's like a $10 copay or something or whatever, but I'll have results in 20 to 30 minutes. They'll get emailed to me. So because I have to test negative before I can go to my football game here in LA on Sunday. So it has to be within 72 hours. I fly out on Friday. I really would prefer not to test down there because I don't know the area, and I don't want to waste my precious vacation time sitting and getting tested for COVID. So I'm going to do it on Thursday. before I leave here, and one shot deal. So I'm pretty sure I don't have it, but we're gonna find out on Thursday, and so that'll be 72 hours before the game. It should get me in, no problem when I test negative there. So I'm gonna set up my appointment either later tonight or tomorrow for Thursday, probably Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, and be all set up to go to my game on Sunday. See my Vikings, my terrible Vikings, the team that's pissing me off this year. I hate this team, this 2021 Vikings, but I already paid for these tickets. I'm gonna go see them against the Chargers in brand new SoFi Stadium. I'm so excited to go see SoFi. Really, one of these days I'm gonna go see a game at US Bank Stadium. But I did go on that tour when I was in Minnesota, toured the stadium. I think that was actually better than seeing a game there. It was much less money. I got to go down on the 50-yard line on the field. I got to go in the locker rooms. I got to go in the suites, the beautiful suites that I wish I could afford season tickets to, or even just any tickets to the suites. I got to go in the press room. It was awesome. It was amazing. It was so much cheaper than going to see a game that I may not have enjoyed because I don't like the crowds. I don't like the long ass lines for concessions. I don't like the view. You know, I don't think the view is worth what you pay for football tickets. Baseball tickets cheap. Basketball tickets fairly cheap. Football tickets, for whatever reason, are expensive. No matter where you sit, you get shitty ass seats for an outrageous price, and I just don't enjoy it. I'd much rather watch football at home. But I am gonna go to this game. Probably watch my Vikings get their ass whooped by the Chargers and Justin Herbert, my boy. Justin Herbert, big fan of Justin Herbert. That's why I specifically chose this game because I want to go to SoFi. I want to see Justin Herbert. I want to see my Vikings. Perfect storm of. You know, plus it's close, decently close, as close as it's going to get for me in the NFL, other than Seattle and San Francisco. I mean, that's really LA is the third closest NFL city to me. So, yeah. All right, 7 minutes. Let's get to it. My 15 waiver wire options for Week 10. Starting with the quarterbacks, I got 3 for you. Carson Wentz again leads. He's at the top of the list. He's been at the top of the list for like a month now. Carson Wentz. People are sleeping on Carson Wentz. The guy may not be the best real-life quarterback. He's far too much of a risk taker. But fantasy-wise, he's gonna get you decent. He's gonna put up a decent day. I understand a lot of teams don't like to carry 2 quarterbacks. So really, if you're not carrying 2, it's not a huge reason to have Carson Wentz unless you're filling in for a bye week where you got injury problems. But I'm the kind of guy who typically likes to carry 2. I'd rather have Carson Wentz sitting on my bench than have someone else using him against me in a desperation play and winning the matchup. Like, for instance, I picked up Tua last week in 2 leagues, and I had no idea he was missing the game. I didn't get that alert on my phone while I was at work. So I found out after the game started that Tua had a broken finger and wasn't going to play. So, like, I mean, I knew he was hurt. I knew he was questionable, but I didn't realize it was a game-time decision. I didn't realize that he was, like, in jeopardy of not playing. So I missed out on those points. And there was another league where I started Mike White, who's the next quarterback on my list. Mike White looks legitimate, guys. But I started Mike White, and he got me like 195 yards and a touchdown. Not terrible. It's like 8 points, but I did end up winning that week, despite the bad start on Thursday. And the last quarterback, I know he's not great. He's probably not going to be super great, but I'm just really high on. I like Sean Payton. Okay, I hate to admit that I like Sean Payton because he coaches the Saints. The Saints have become a big nemesis for my Vikings lately, especially with Bountygate. I don't like what he did to us. I don't like that I don't like the way he did that. He lost some of my respect, but I do think he's the best play caller in football. I think he's the best offensive mind in football, and I like his offenses. His quarterbacks typically pretty fantasy relevant. Even though Drew Brees, you gotta admit, Drew Brees was terrible the last like 2 or 3 years of his career, but he was still fantasy relevant because of Sean Payton. Trevor Siemian could be fantasy relevant as well. For the tight ends, Pat Freiermuth. Let me just toot my own horn. Toot. I was right about him. Boy, wasn't he had a better day than I thought. Pat Freiermuth single-handedly won me about 4 matchups yesterday, and I'm very thankful for that. So thank you, Pat Freiermuth. I think moving forward, Pat Freiermuth has proven, given the options at the tight end position this season, that he's worth owning. Even if you're carrying one tight end, Pat Freiermuth is probably a top 10 guy the rest of the way. And Dan Arnold, not really scoring any touchdowns. That's a bit of a bummer, but he is racking up the targets, the catches, and the yards. Those are all important too. And again, the tight end being what it is, a high number of targets, a high number of catches, a high number of yards is better than most of what you're going to be sifting through on that waiver wire. And who knows, touchdowns could start coming. Next, we're going to do the running backs. I'm saving wide receivers for last this time. Running backs, I got 5. Pretty deep list. Devontae Freeman's at the top of my list. I think he's solidified his spot at the top of the depth chart in a what's kind of become a roller coaster for Baltimore running backs. I think Devontae Freeman is the guy that they never trusted Tyson Williams, unfortunately. So that's why they went out and got Devontae Freeman, Latavius Murray. Freeman, I think, is the guy that they truly trust. He did look like he had a little bit of burst. He looked a little spry. Maybe he could be a very viable back for us down the stretch here. Jordan Howard, he's back on the radar because he got a lot of carries and he gets some touchdowns. He is the red zone guy for the Eagles. We'll see if that can continue with Miles Sanders back. I think it will. I think Miles Sanders sucks. Let's keep that on the down low. But Jordan Howard looks like the guy to own, at least for this week. It kind of has changed on a weekly basis. But Jordan Howard, I think, is the most consistent guy because he gets the touchdowns, he gets the red zone work. Ernest Johnson, as I said, is filling in admirably for Kareem Hunt as the backup running back, as the running back 2 in Cleveland. He's getting the same amount of work, basically. He is scoring touchdowns. Very viable option in the meantime until Kareem Hunt comes back, which will not be this week, by the way. So Ernest Johnson still relevant for you this week. Nyheim Hines scored a touchdown on a run last week. He actually ran for over 100 yards, I think, right? Or close to it. I think he got 100 scrimmage yards, not 100 rushing yards. I don't think we're ever going to see Nyheim Hines rush for 100 yards. But 100 total yards and a touchdown. Pretty good day. Nyheim Hines has quietly, basically his whole career, been a low-end flex option in PPR fantasy leagues. And he is doing his thing again this year with a little bit more productivity. And lastly, Ty Johnson, he's on this list again just because very limited work, very limited role in not such a good offense. But with Mike White out there, the Jets offense has looked NFL worthy. And Ty Johnson, with his limited work, is being very productive and should be, if you're in a deeper league or you really need to fill a hole at running back because of the injuries, Ty Johnson is better than most options out there. Now, for the wide receivers, again, I got 5. I really like this list of 5, starting with Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk is back, fellas and ladies. I think he hasn't really looked good all year. He hasn't even teased us. But this last game, it looks like he finally got out of the doghouse, finally reclaimed his spot alongside Deebo Samuel as the guy in the 49ers offense. I think Brandon Ayuk is going to be the guy to see Jalen Ramsey next week, not Deebo. Deebo is more of a slot guy, more of a line of scrimmage guy. So Jalen Ramsey, I think, is going to see mostly Ayuk. But that doesn't mean, Ayuk coming into the season was a wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 1 upside. If he's available in your league, which he is available in more than 50% of leagues at the time of this video, you should be adding him for depth at least. Elijah Moore is finally looking like the guy that a lot of us experts or people who play this game take this game very seriously. We're drafting early. I wouldn't say early, but we were drafting him at the end of the draft. He was very disappointing to start the year. We all moved on with 2 touchdowns on Thursday night. Brings him back up into the waiver wire hierarchy because we know the talent is there. This guy was getting a lot of hype coming out of camp, coming out of the draft. He was supposed to be the guy for the Jets, and he still very well could be down in the second half here because there's not really anybody else. Donovan Peoples-Jones is capitalizing on the absence of Odell Beckham Jr., and I think he's going to be a hot, trendy waiver wire pickup this week too, as he should be. He's earned that by being productive without Beckham on the field. Speaking of Odell Beckham Jr., I think you guys should hold him if you have him. I know you're going to be tempted to drop him, but you should hold him. There's a good chance he could end up with the Packers. I would hate to see that, but Aaron Rodgers would turn him into a very viable, very relevant fantasy wide receiver, and he could also end up with the Saints, where Sean Payton could use him in a multitude of effective ways as well. So I would say hold him. I think he's going to end up in a better situation, no matter where he ends up, than he was in Cleveland. Russell Gage, a guy who, personally, I'm not interested in Russell Gage. I don't think he's going to do anything. But the opportunity for him to be the 1A for the Falcons minus Calvin Ridley is there. He's getting the targets. He's getting the catches. Not really producing, not getting the touchdowns. But if you're in a PPR league, a full PPR league, even better, the catches will significantly boost his point production. Sorry, I don't know. I was having a bit of a brain fart there. And lastly, I'm putting Rashad Bateman on this list again. I'm really high on him personally. I do still think that he's going to be a league winner for us down the stretch. Kind of had a breakout game last week. Not really, but he could potentially do it Thursday. They played the Dolphins on Thursday. Dolphins secondary, I thought was going to be good, but I thought there's a lot of things about the Dolphins that I thought coming into the season that have been very wrong. The secondary is not good. Rashad Bateman playing on Thursday could kind of remind him of college a little bit, where he was very good in college at the University of Minnesota. This could be his breakout game. This could be the game where we say, okay, Rashad Bateman, where everybody else sees and thinks what I think about Rashad Bateman, he's going to be a league winner for us. Sorry, I got an alert down the stretch. Again, he's a guy that we should be adding for depth purposes, injury, roster fill-ins at the very least, because to keep him off of your opponent's roster. So that's the video. Pushing 18 minutes. I think I talked enough. I need to go, set my, put in my own waiver claims and putting the customer first here. And I think I'm probably going to go to the movies because Tuesday it's discount day, even though I get in for free. It's nice to get a discount on the concessions when I am as broke as I currently feel. So, peace, love, and nacho fries.